Hi, my name is Miguel Lopez. You're watching GameSpot Live, and I'm here to tell you about the new Rumble in Mario Land, Super Smash Bros. Melee. If you've played the first one, you're probably familiar with what this is all about. Basically, 1 to 4 players going at it in crazy 2D fighting, drawing from all the elements of Nintendo's famous franchises, its characters, its settings, and even some of its items, special moves, and that sort of thing. Overall, pretty crazy game, very fast-paced, very spastic, and if you've played the first one, then you'll know just what to expect with this one. Probably the most significant upgrade from the last one is, aside from graphics and all, is the addition of a pretty real single-player mode. Aside from standard story mode, which in this one is called the classic mode, arena to arena, character to character fighting. There's also an adventure mode which draws a lot of elements from classic 2D side-scrollers. For instance, the first adventure mode stage takes place in something that's highly reminiscent of a level from the original Mario Brothers, albeit in full 3D, fully animated with, nice polygonal Goombas and Koopas and such. You go through these worlds and, the gameplay doesn't change all that much. It's still Super Smash Bros. Mechanics, but for instance, in the Mario world, you'll be able to hop on these enemies and kill them just as you would in the Super Mario Brothers games. A lot of the other ones aren't as cool as the Mario one. The Zelda one, for instance, seems to be based off of Zelda, off of the side-scrolling stages in Zelda 2, where you'd go through these dungeons and just traverse them and find your way through the side-scrolling mazes in order to get to the ending level. This time around, it's not such a convincing sell, at least not as much as the Mario ones. Basically, they're populated with monsters from every Zelda game, and it just seems to be more thrown together in terms of level design than the other ones. There are a couple of other cool ones. The F-Zero one is pretty amusing. You're basically going down a track and all the F-Zero cars come at you 500 miles per hour and nail you if you don't jump on a platform at the right time. But for the most part, if you were expecting big things from the adventure mode, you'll likely be disappointed.
Versus Giant Captain Falcon. Ready? Go!
Most likely though, after you've unlocked everything and have had your fill of all the single-player games, you're likely to spend most of your time in the multiplayer matches, which really is what Smash Bros. Is all about. In terms of what you can do, multiplayer, it hasn't changed a great deal, 1 through 4 players, any of which can be computer players. You're able to set each player up in certain teams and what have you, so that you can skew the matches however you want. A bunch of parameters can be altered. You could adjust the frequency of the weapons and items that appear. You can even select, special rules for it. For instance, you could make every player a giant version of his or her character, or, conversely, a tiny version or an invisible version. But overall, when you have 4 people playing the game and everybody's into it, it's probably one of the best multiplayer experiences out there. In regards to the fighting system itself, it really hasn't changed a great deal. They've added a couple of moves and they've changed the way certain things work. Grabs, for instance, aren't as effective as they were before. Now, you'll feel as if their range has decreased, or as if, for instance, Samus shoots her grapple beam out. It doesn't feel as if it goes as far, or it's not as sticky enough as it was before. So that's kind of cool. The game is much more is more about doing the actual smash moves, not people that are supposed to just going up to them and throwing them when they're low on energy. Other new additions to the fighting system are, there's an air evasion, which you simply press the block button when you're in the air and you'll be able to just dodge out of the way of something. There's also a little sidestep move, which you basically do by executing a grab-like motion and hitting to the side. Basically, as you evade somebody who's attacking you in your face. Neither of these moves really alter the gameplay too much. It's still mostly an offensive game, but of course, if you learn to use these moves well, you'll have that much more of an advantage. Your reward for going through all of the single-player modes and for generally playing a heck of a lot is the game's trophy mode. Basically, as you play, you'll either find trophies strewn about the levels, or you'll be able to get them in secret modes, or the more you play, the more coins you get, which you can in turn put into a slot machine in the game's trophy menu. These trophies are basically 3D portraits of famous and not so famous Nintendo characters, Nintendo settings, Nintendo items, and that sort of thing. You know, aside from the obvious, you know, Mario, Samus, Link, Zelda, those kinds of people, you'll have some pretty crazy stuff. You'll have a balloon fighter, you'll have the guy from Mock Rider, you'll have you know, a creature from Clu Clu Land, you'll have the Mute City map of F-Zero. It's pretty off the wall. If you've been following the game at all, you'll know that Smash Brothers is, you know, essentially a highly beautified version of the original with a whole bunch of extras thrown in for fans, not only of the original game, but just Nintendo fans in general. It's one of the best looking games we've seen this year in regards to how fast it moves, how good the characters look, and really just the amount of madness going on in the backgrounds at one time. As on its own merits, it's probably one of the best multiplayer games available for any platform. And obviously, if you have a GameCube, you're going to want to check this one out. It goes without saying, if you're a Nintendo fan, this is definitely for you. So check it out. It's going to be out very soon, and we highly recommend it.